Watched the tape last week. What'd you think?
Last week's game?
Yeah.
Not very good. Not very good up front. And I think we had a combination of things going on. We had a couple guys in there that obviously was their first time to ever play in a college football game, first time for this group to play together. And with different guys, it was kind of a different set of factors. I had a couple of guys, I think, at times that were just a little bit awestruck with the whole situation, just being in their first college game, played nervous, played a little bit hesitant, and just, didn't really ever cut it loose. Had a couple of guys that were just the opposite, were like at times overly aggressive and out of control, which isn't any good either. I would certainly rather have that than the other, because I can teach and coach that if a guy wants to give great effort. But in the offensive line, I always tell the guys, you got to start the block under control, then finish it mad. But you can't go mad from the very start and just try to knock somebody's head out, because you get overextended and you wind up just missing people. So we had a number of things going on.
Is there any possibility of any changes in the lineup this week?
Well, I don't know that there would be any change this week necessarily, but what I always tell the guys is, hey, you got to earn your position every week, and there's ongoing competition. And I told them all a number of different stories this week about situations I've had in the past where we started off a season and something happened with a guy and didn't perform well, and he finally got to the point where it just pissed me off enough that he was done right in the middle of a game, never to be heard from again. And he was a fifth-year senior that had started 4 years and missed the last half of his senior year because he wasn't playing hard and wasn't playing well.
Do you anticipate Brandon staying at left tackle?
I don't see any reason right now that we need to change that, but Brandon can play either, and some guys, particularly young guys, you don't want to play on both sides. The advantage of having a guy like Brandon, Jared Cooper, John Sullen, again, those guys don't have a ton of experience, but they've been in the system long enough that they've done different things, and that's really important this year because we don't have a lot of depth, not a lot of quality depth, and so there just aren't that many guys that are ready to play. So at times we might end up having to mix and match guys. A guy goes down here, you got to move somebody to a different spot or what have you. So we got a few of those guys that could move around if we felt like we needed to, either because of injury or just because somebody was playing better than somebody else.
Talk about Reese Sneaks, what you saw in him in the first.
Well, the thing that Reese did well is he did a good job communicating. And in your first game with a bunch of new guys playing together, that's always the first concern, is how are these guys going to communicate? Are we going to identify the fronts and make all the calls correctly? Particularly with the defense that we didn't really know what we were going to see coming in, and the mixture of odd and even fronts. But he did a really nice job communicating. But I'm sure he would be the first to tell you that he didn't play up to what his level of capability is. But again, he's a true freshman. It's his first game to ever play, and I have absolute confidence that he'll get better every week.
Talking about Mississippi State, it's always a pretty physical one, and coming off where you struggled to run it some last week, they're probably going to come in and challenge you again like that.
Well, there's no question that they're going to anyway. They did last year, and they are a very physical team. Their front plays really well, very aggressive. Number 94 and number 97, I think, are probably as good of a pair of defensive tackles as we'll see all year. And we played them last year early, and I thought they were good then. But I didn't ever go back and, we played them early, so I didn't see the rest of the year. And man, those two guys really came on. I mean, the rest of the year, I'm looking at the end of the year, and the way that those two guys are playing, they are just making it unbelievably difficult for people to run the football between the tackles. And, they play an upfield, hard-charging style with their defensive tackles, and they're going to try to get upfield and disrupt your run game, and just those two guys both have the size and the suddenness and the speed. They're the total package. I think both of them are. I think they're pretty comparable to the 2D tackles we played last year at Clemson, number 98 and 99. Those two guys gave us issues as well, but it'll be a great challenge for us for sure.